Hi, it's Magnus Nilsson. In today's video we are going to talk about the real estate bubble year 2018. And why do I say year 2018? Well, in the coming slides and charts I will show you some really good proof of what will happen because of historical data and how the situation looks like right now. Okay, let's go. The house prices and incomes. Well, this diagram shows both Canada and the United States and the so-called affordability index. What that means is that, well, in the States at year 2006-07, we were at the top in the US for what we could afford, and there we had the crash and went down to 2012 before it began to recover again. In Canada, on the other side, we didn't really have a crash. It was just dropping down a little bit here, and then it continued to go up and up and up. That means the bubble really didn't burst in year 2007-08. So we are really into a hyper bubble right now in Canada, and I will show you some more proof about this. This is the index of house prices, where we have 100 as the index. And we see that in the US we had a top around 2017 and we had going down in prices. But like you see here, the level is just about the same now. So we are in the same situation as we had in 2007 in the US. But in Canada, we continued to rise and rise and rise. And right now it's very expensive for people to get a house, if you buy a new one, that is. And it is in a hyperinflation boom right now. Not hyperinflation, but a hyper bubble. So, what else? Well, Robert Schiller, you might have heard about from the Yale University. He made a lot of very good charts which makes people understand what's really happening in the market, both in the real estate and in the stock market. Right here we have the index for 100 as a fair value for a house compared with the other part of the economy. So if the price was below 100 like we had here in the 1920s, it was a bargain to buy a house or a home. Later on it became a bit more expensive, and then in the 1970s we had a good start, a good index for buying a house. Then we had inflation, everything, it began to rise in cash, and we had it dip down, and then 2007 we had this huge boom for prices in houses, and compared with the index fair value, it was up to 190, close to 200 in index. Then we had the crash, and it didn't even go down to 100, it was still far above. And since then it has been climbing up again. And if you take where we are right today, you can see that we are up to close to 170 index compared with the other part of the economy. That means we are in a bubble again. That's terrible. And the United States is not alone. Here how it looks like in other countries. This is the median home prices in Greater Toronto area in June 2017. You can see the bungalows, detached houses, they have been climbing fastest and up to around 1 million or above. And right now, like we saw in the other charts, we are in a hyper bubble. So it's not only a question mark, it is a bubble, and it could burst anywhere. But if it bursts in Canada, we don't know. It's the same situation in Australia, New Zealand, or China. And wherever it starts, this burst, the burst of the bubble, it will take all the other countries with it. And it will be a global crash, just like the last time. Here we have a case, Schiller US Home Price Index. You can see here now that according to this price index, you can see that today the housing bubble in the US is even higher than we had in 2006-07. It's 6% higher. And at that time, we crashed 27% in general. The home price is as overvalued as an early top 2006. Here you see the US National Home Price Index in red and the inflation in the US in the blue. Just like before, we had this crash coming down, and it seems like we had a turnaround in year 2012. And since that day, we have seen the prices been going up again, much faster than the inflation. And that means that we are getting back to a bubble again. So be aware. This one will just show you. Here is 2006, 2007. The prices went up very fast, and the inventory also went up till the top of 2007 and 8 here. Then the inventory went down drastically, and median sales prices also went down to 2012. Here we had a change of prices, just as like I showed you in the last one. Went up, and the average price is around $270,000 right now. But the inventory is still getting down, and that's one of the reasons we have a climbing prices index. Real estate equity per household in the US from 87 to 2017. So you can see here, we had the crash, it went down, people didn't have any equity back in the real estate. But this also proves that we have been getting up in prices, and people per household are having much more money right now. Here it says we have around $110,000, $120,000 per equity per real estate. We got back to the other part of the Atlantic. Real house prices in Stockholm up to 2016. We didn't have any real bubble in Sweden. It went down, it was almost staying on the same level as 2006, 2007. Nothing really happened, it was flat. But since then, it's been climbing and climbing and climbing. And I would say that even if the experts doesn't think we are in a bubble here in Sweden, it is a bubble, very drastically, and it will burst. And they have been taking a lot of different actions from the central bank and from the government, saying that we have to pay off the loans much faster and with much more money per month than ever before, just to make it easier or not such a violent crash once it happens. Housing prices and households' disposable income in Sweden. You can see the tenant-owned apartments is been going up very high in index price, and the disposable income has been going not as fast as we call it the flat owners. And single family houses has been climbing, and since that it's been going even faster, so it's getting close to what we have in for the flats. It's in a bubble. Here we have the different countries. You can see that Sweden we had here is been getting very high up now, close to 200 soon. It's up in 200. Denmark had a crash, and that's why we don't have the same type of index right now for Denmark, but it's climbing slowly. Norway didn't climb that high, but we had a little crash in Norway. See up here. And the United States, like we said before, it looks quite low, but it's been climbing up, and right now it's in a bubble. And we have Spain. Spain had a very bad crash. We went down and down and down, and still today prices are getting up, but not as much as we had before. So it's a very cheap market right now. We have China. China has been climbing and climbing and climbing and not really have any real crash. So right now we're up to 700% increase from year 2001 up to 17, and it's been still climbing. So here is a place we can have a bubble bursting just about any time. So if it's Canada, Australia, New Zealand or China, any of these countries can burst, if not Sweden first, and it will take all different countries with it. That was what I want to say about this bubble in real estate. Thank you for listening, and I will get back to some more new very exciting stories about silver and gold. And be aware, I have something very exciting to tell you next time I'm back. Bye for now.